Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. So we talked about yesterday how I thought that the Browns offense wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. And the passing offense, I thought, showed a lot of signs of promise. The one area of the offense that we did not get to touch on because it was not as promising, unfortunately, was the run game, which was sold as the kind of bread and butter of this Browns offense. It wasn't a very impressive day for the Cleveland Browns run game. I think this is a combination of things. One, run games can be kind of fickle early in the season, takes a while for things to get going. There's a lot of moving parts that are needed for a run game, usually for an offense, right, that has been moving around some pieces over the last few years like the Browns. The run game is usually the last thing to come along. That could definitely be part of it. I think the Bengals defensive line is a lot better than we thought. They got some legitimate run stuffers in there, some guys who are just making plays. And then also, I think the biggest concern that I have about the Browns offensive line when it comes to run blocking is the lack of power that the Browns have on the offensive line. And I think that's going to be the thing that stands out to me the most during this film breakdown. So we're going to look at the film. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. But before I do, I want to thank my sponsor for today, Sleeper. Hey, guess what? The NFL season is finally here, and that means you've got a fantastic opportunity with daily fantasy football on the Sleeper app. Football has never been more exciting than it is now with players like CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, etc. Pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, and fantasy points and more for up to 100x payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you can win big. Use promo code WORSTTAKE and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Download the #1 sports app today and experience it for yourself. Also, remember that you can use the promo code WORSTTAKE and get up to $100 match on your first deposit. So in this breakdown, we're going to focus on Jerome Ford's carries. We're going to focus on Dylan Sampson's carry with Jerome Ford's carries. Jerome Ford was heavily criticized, I think probably the most by Browns fans. It's tough with Jerome because I think Browns fans have had a pretty tumultuous relationship with Jerome Ford, right? So sometimes that kind of leaks in to when something's not great with Jerome. People get mad at him. But the reason Browns fans have a bit of a tumultuous relationship with Jerome Ford is that Jerome Ford isn't always good, right? So it's not like the anger that goes towards him as far as it being football related is not really justified by some of the performances that Jerome Ford has had. He's a very inconsistent football player. And right now the Browns are kind of using him as tailback 2. I think he's more of a fit for tailback 3 on a great run game. I think when Quincy comes back, him as tailback 3, that makes a lot more sense, right? Him as tailback 2, it don't really make much sense, right? Especially when Dylan's the other guy, because everything that you're going to ask Jerome and Dylan to do that are very similar, Dylan just does it better. But let's look at it, right? Let's look at Jerome Ford in this game. He was not good. I'm just going to spare you that one. He was not good in this game. But let's see if it could have been helped by better performance by the offensive line. All right, so Mr. Ford here, first carry, 2nd and 5, 5 minutes in the first quarter. This is a tough one. I would think you would want him to take that cutback lane, right? I don't think it's really there because Trey Henderson is scraping this really clean, right? So he's real close to the tackle, scraping that clean. So I can understand if you don't want to take that there and you're looking at the linebacker read. I don't get the hesitation to cut into this gap here, though, right? If you're like reading this, you don't like the cutback lane, right? You don't take it initially and you're reading the linebacker. Once you see 55 shoot into the gap, you should be right behind 77 here, right? Instead, kind of holds it just a fraction of a second longer, cuts. Posick loses his block, and that gap gets filled up. Now, another thing I want you to notice is just look at the lack of power here on this offensive line, and this is unfortunately a motif that we're going to go through in this film breakdown. All right, so you see Posick here. This is not powerful enough. Now, to be fair, the man, he's trying to push like 330 pounds. But this is not powerful enough from Wyatt Teller or Ethan Posick. This is not good enough right here. They're going to talk about stuff like this all week. This right here, this combo block, this is not good enough. You need to get his ass towards the top of that face mask on that orange helmet. You're not even doing anything close to that, right? There's no drive there. Right? You're getting in his way. You're holding him up for a little bit. But if you're Posick and if you're Teller, this has to be way more powerful. Because by the time Teller leaves, I think he should stay there for just a little bit, right? Let the running back deal with the linebacker, right? You know he can't deal with big ass number 98. He can't deal with 98, right? Your center can't deal with 98. And the issue with this right here is that Teller's supposed to be powerful, right? Posick, he's a speed guy. You're not asking him to be powerful all the time, but Teller, you are. You know, that's part of Teller's game. This is not powerful enough. This is not remotely powerful enough, right? Not enough push. Not enough push. And, you know, number 890, I think it's TJ Slayton. He's no joke. He's good, right? But still, want more power, right? Because you're supposed to be good. You're Wyatt Teller. All right, here's another run here, Jerome Ford. And another one where, like, I don't know where Jerome, people are going to be mad at Jerome for this one. And maybe you can screenshot this in a way to be like, oh, he had the cutback lane. But again, Trey Henderson's doing a great job here, right? Bending that corner, scraping. If he cuts back, he's tackled. So that lane's not there. You know, this is basically take advantage if the edge plays terrible technique. You might be able to have that lane. That lane's not there. The edge plays strong technique. He's supposed to go unblocked, by the way. I know people are like, why are you leaving Trey Henderson unblocked? He's a backside, right? So backside line shift, he's supposed to be unblocked. You're trying to get this. You're trying to get this into here, right? Like this is the alley that they're trying to run to. Right here. And then there's an alert for the running back. Hey, if this guy's just like upfield or he's lost his goddamn mind or he went back into coverage, then take the cutback lane. So that's the lane he's supposed to go through. And the issue here is, again, a lack of power. A lack of power. Right? This is Jack this time. You know, who was that? Was that Shamar Stewart? Yeah, it was Stewart. Again, this Bengals defensive line played some good football, man. Like, you got to give credit where credit's due. They played some good football. Shamar Stewart's a first-round draft pick. Look at that. It's a great technique. If I saw Brown do that, I'd be excited, right? You know, underneath the pads, up, gets Conklin stood straight up, and then wipes him off clean into the running back. That's a big play there that could have happened because we know what Jerome Ford can do in space. If he gets in space, he's dangerous. But, you know, Jack Conklin just didn't get low enough, didn't get powerful enough, gets caught in a very unpowerful position here, gets overpowered. And it's not like the Browns on this side of the play, right? So we know what happened, you know, on the outside lane of this play. On the inside lane of this play, DeJuan's not being very powerful. Joel's not being very powerful either, right? So, you know, again, DeJuan, it's frustrating because you want him to be so much more powerful, but this is fine, right? This combo block is fine. You know, it drives the guy back, keeps him out the play. Joel, I think his back just doesn't hold up the same anymore. Like, it's just what it is. Some days his back's not going to be very good, right? So he doesn't really anchor here like you want him to, but it's fine. It'll do, really, you just got to have Jack Conklin seal this up. Jack Conklin seals this up. This is a big play. This is one where people are going to be upset when they watch it at Jerome Ford. There was nothing Jerome Ford can do here, right? This is on Jack Conklin. You know, you get Jerome, that play is designed to get Jerome Ford in space and then let him be the athlete that he is. And again, Jerome Ford, like you could debate to me whether he's a good play running back. And I'm not going to argue with you too much. But what I will say is everybody knows that Jerome Ford's really good in space. He gets big plays every year, like a 60-yard touchdown. We know what he could do in space. And, you know, the offensive line, the issue has been the offensive lines he's been behind don't really afford him those home run opportunities at the same rate that you would like. You know, you put Jerome behind a great offensive line, he's probably going to be a fan favorite, believe it or not. But behind this version of the Browns offensive line, which is a little bit more inconsistent, you know, you need somebody who's going to break a couple tackles. And Jerome don't do that. We know Jerome don't do that. Yeah. That's tough. That's tough. Let's get to the next one. 1st and 4. So this is on the goal line here. Cincinnati 4. Browns had issue on the goal line, right? They had to put in Rocket Sanders. That didn't really even work. Hand off to Jerome. It's a good job by Jerome avoiding the first contact here. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Was that Shamar Stewart doing that shit to DeJuan Jones? Hold on. Wait a minute. We got an ass whooping. Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah. Whew. Hey, 97 might be a problem. Hey, you got to give credit where credit is due. Hey, 97 might be a problem for some time to come. That was impressive. Look at Shamar Stewart here. Ugh. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. I don't care about them Texas A&M sack numbers, dog. That's a beast right there. That's a beast right there. Look at that shit. I mean, like, that's not even one of those times where I think DeJuan comes out with shit technique. He gets too high. He just got beat here. Yeah, look at this. He's not afraid of the monster, dog. He was excited to see DeJuan. Comes in there, attacks him right at the chest. DeJuan tries to answer back. He starts driving him with his length, and then he just judo. All right. 97, you have my attention. But this is a Browns breakdown. I'm not a Bengals guy, so, you know, got to zoom back out and see what went wrong with the entire play. But, yeah, Shamar Stewart, again, I know it's the Bengals. They had a bad preseason. I was on it too. Oh, maybe they're not good, right? And this is a concerning sign. Trey Henderson, Shamar Stewart, I think this defensive line's better than going to be better than people think. Whoo! All right. Let me stop. All right, so let's look at the run here. What happens here is Shamar Stewart blows this thing up, absolutely destroys it. 44 also does a good job making sure that David Njoku can't climb here, right? Like just jams David Njoku up so nobody can get to Logan Wilson, who also blows this play up. So backside of this play just got completely blown up here by 97 and 55. Individual efforts there from 44 and 97 to get 97 and 55 to blow this up, right? So good job there. Yeah, 44. That's feigning, gets out there late too. I think he's supposed to be around here to plug this gap. He's late. Reason he's late is because 44 is holding up both of them. So Fainan's getting held up by Bengals 44. Good job there by Cincinnati. Now this is a good adjustment by Jerome, right? Avoids this tackle in the backfield. He just doesn't have great contact balance, man. And I remember, like, I was talking about this during the season, and somebody had the nerve to, like, tell me that they think contact balance is an overrated thing for running backs. And I just don't know how you can, like, evaluate this thing and take that comment seriously. Contact balance is incredibly important for a running back for this reason. It's the reason why Dylan Sampson looks so much different than Jerome Ford. They're not running for that much different of production. But when you see Jerome Ford and he can't march through contact, it's different than when you see Dylan Sampson and he does, right? And we're going to look at the Dylan Sampson runs. But right here, it's like, yeah, this is a good play for Jerome to get out of this. But he can't really make anything of it because he can't take that alley. He can't, try to put his shoulder down and be very powerful and drive 42 back to score this touchdown because he has bad contact balance here, right? Like he can't stay on his feet. He bowling balls into 77 and he falls down. Contact balance is one of the most important traits of a running back, man. It's so important because it just changes the level of opportunity you're going to have on a play. This is 2nd and 2 here on the Cincinnati 2. Yeah, you just need to see Jerome be more powerful here. And who's that on the pool? So Jack Conklin, again, man, we got to be more powerful than this on the double team. Got to be more powerful than this. David Njoku. It's tough for David, right? You got to get off Trey Henderson and worry about that linebacker. It's a tough assignment. And then 77's worried about Logan there. I don't know, man. I think Jerome's. I think you just got to have a bigger back in there than Jerome. Honestly, God, right? Like I think maybe if that's Quinshawn might be able to put that shoulder into 92, and he's not going to put him in the dirt, but he's going to be able to walk him back a little bit with some momentum, right? I think that's another part of the problem here, right? The short yardage stuff. Browns just don't have the body type in there. Like they tried to put Rocket Sanders in there as like a boom back, but Rocket Sanders isn't that kind of a running back. Rocket Sanders likes to take it outside. He likes to play like Derrick Henry, right? The running back on the roster that likes to put his shoulder into people and run into people, be that battering ram, that's Quinshon Judkins. I think this is just a play where you just need Quinshon Judkins. Jerome Ford did about as good as with this play as you could expect Jerome Ford to do with this play, right? Like he's not that kind of running back. I know somebody, somebody's going to be like, well, Jerome could have bounced this outside. You would have been pissed if Jerome bounced this shit outside. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. If Jerome puts his foot in the ground right now, tries to bounce this outside, and it runs this around, you know what's going to happen? Trey Henderson, he's going to roll out here. This corner's going to play the outside left, and he's going to get tackled. Right. Keep in mind that they also have this safety to carry this inside lane. And then you have Logan Wilson, who's going to be chasing him backside. This isn't a vision thing. Jerome did the right thing here, right? This is what you want him to do. Okay, here, just put your shoulder in 92's chest and move his ass. The problem is Jerome's not that kind of running back, right? He's not a put my shoulder in your chest and move guys type of running back. Quinshon is, though. So I think that would have been a successful play with Quinshon. And you're getting into the complexities of why the Browns run game didn't look good. Sometimes it's the offensive line not being powerful. Sometimes it's the running back not making the best decision. Sometimes it's just we don't have the right running back to run the play we want to run. Let's continue. It's third quarter, 1st and 10 here. Another handoff to Jerome Ford, and this one really isn't on Jerome. This is just a tough assignment here for Cedric Tillman, man. So outside, what they're trying to do, they're down blocking and they're pulling, they're stepping up the tackle here. So that means Cedric Tillman's going to get an edge. He's going to climb, try to get to this second level or maybe even pull out to this gap. And none of this goes as planned here, right? Cornelius Lucas just does not get to the right guy at any kind of timely manner. I mean, this is not going to be successful, even if this doesn't get blown up in the backfield. I think Dewan does a good job there. Is that Dewan? Yeah, Dewan does a good job help block. This is what I mean by being more powerful on the help block here, right? I've been bitching and moaning about the last 10 minutes. You guys finally see me be happy about it here, right? Little combo here, right? Watch 79. That's moving ass right there. Boom. That's moving ass, opening grass, right? Move ass, open grass. Great stuff here. Wyatt Teller moving ass, opening grass. Hell Fannin, you know what I mean, absorbing that contact, open up a lane here. But the problem that dooms this play, it happens far away from where you think it would, right? It's at the backside of this play. This play isn't ruined by 34. 34 does his job here. These guys up front where they're running to, these guys do their job here. These two don't really do a great job here. And look, his job is very difficult. Cedric Tillman's job is an insane axe, right? You only axe this because you have a lot of faith in him as a blocker. And sometimes it's going to work out. You're going to get a big play because you could get away with this. And sometimes it's not. This is one of those times where it didn't. And they're going to continue to try this because they do trust Cedric as a blocker, big body, long arms. He can do it, right? I think the other big issue here is that 77. This play was not drawn up with 71 in mind, right? This was drawn up with 78. Now 78 can get out there, move, get his head on 42. 71 probably not going to be able to do that, brother, because this is ugly. It's not good. That's not good here, right? Maybe 71 was supposed to give him a little chip before he got out, but I think he's supposed to jet out there. I think he's supposed to jet out, right? I'm pretty sure you ask Cedric Tillman, he thinks he could do a better job on that one. I believe him, right? Because he didn't really get great technique there. He kind of went in. You see how he goes in, he takes that punch, and he's like long back. You don't want the long back, right? You don't want the long back. You want low legs. But when you're reaching with your back like this, it's not very powerful, right? So reach position, and then he kind of just gets drived away from here. Do you wish that Jerome Ford could break that tackle? Sure. I wish that Jerome Ford was Adrian Peterson too. But he's not. And then again, because 71 didn't do a good job getting to 44, 44 was going to blow that shit up even if he broke that tackle. It's a shame. Again, another one where you're watching on TV, you're like, Jerome stinks. It wasn't really on Jerome. Jerome did everything he could to keep that play alive. Doesn't mean that Jerome was like amazing in this game, but I think, people talk about they need to cut Jerome Ford. I think it's a little bit extreme. A little bit extreme. All right. Again, don't think he played well, but, the lack of run production was more a group thing. This is what frustrates you with Jerome, too. It's like, man, if he could just break one more tackle, right? But then you look at the guys tackling him, and they're 350 pounders, and he's just not that big. But really, my critique here is less about can Jerome Ford break a defensive tackle in the backfield? And could, Joe Bitonio be more powerful here with this combo block? These have to be way more powerful than they are right now. Again, this is another combo block that doesn't do anything, right? These have to be way more powerful. Look at this. This is lacking power. And then he just kind of gingerly goes on to the second level. Posic's got to be more helpful there. Way too eager to get to the second level here. Way too eager. Let's be more powerful here. Let's wait. Feel him on your hip before you let him go, right? You got to feel Jerome Ford on his hip. He should probably still be on 90, 55 here. He should be helping Joe Bitonio until he feels 32, not 32, definitely not 32, 34 on his hip, right? And then climb. You leave too early, the play doesn't open up. It's a timing thing. And this goes into another thing I'm talking about, why the run game just usually takes some time to get right. It's a lot of timing and rhythm and stuff like that matters with the run game and why the run game can't get going. We tend to only think of the pass game that needs rhythm. The whole offense needs rhythm, right? This is another one. Posick, if he just stays there until Jerome puts that foot in the ground, if he stays there a little longer, he's going to be successful there. It's going to be an 8-yard run, maybe even 10. Instead, it's nothing. And then you watch that on TV and you say Jerome Ford stinks. Tough game. All right, let's look at Dylan Samson here. Now, the reason Dylan's different than Jerome is because Dylan don't go down on the first tackle. Now, is that fair to Jerome? I don't know. But that's just what it is. Right? Also, like this play here, let's look at it real quick. Joel, he's getting whipped a little bit here by 98, not gonna lie. But at least he's in control. And then Dylan avoids that, and then great cut here. And then falls forward. So, nice run. Dylan Samson's game is just less reliant on the offensive line than Jerome is. And I think that's the big problem with Jerome Ford's game. It's so reliant on the offensive line. Right here, nice little cutout. I think he slips on this one, right? Yeah, give yourself a chance to do something here. But the turf was slippery all game for whatever reason. All right, let's go here. Second quarter, 9:29 left. 1st and 10 here for the running back. So great agility to even get outside here. Takes the outside alley. I wonder what Deuce is telling him in this one. Because I feel like they might have wanted him to cut here. I don't know if that would have been better, but they might have wanted him to get north a little sooner. Look at this here, though. Like, this is Logan Wilson. Like, just slipping off this guy's hips. He's just way harder to tackle than Jerome Ford. And I think that's why he looks so much better. And why he's probably going to get most of the carries until Quincy gets out there. Hard to tell what even happened here with this angle. Sorry. All right, let's get to this next play here. 1st and 10. Second quarter, about 1 minute left. Little draw here. You get good blocking, so the blocking cooperates with you a little bit here. Again, 71 in space was not great. So Cornelius Lucas just gets kind of juked out here by 44. But Dylan does a good job adjusting to that and just kind of getting what he can here. So follows inside. He's kind of trying to cut his alley. And, this is what I mean when I'm like, I think Quincy scores that touchdown that Jerome didn't. Look at how powerful Dylan Samson is right here. He gets his shoulder into the chest of big number 98. And you see how 98, you see these legs? You see how he's hopping? Right? He's hopping backwards. He has the ability to drive that guy backwards and just be hell on wheels to tackle. Look at that shit. He's still trying to move guys. And like, again, this dude's like significantly smaller than Jerome Ford. He's what, 5'8", 200 something pounds according to Combine. Jerome Ford's got to be at least 215 at this point. It's just something in you, right? Like that make you run like that. And I was wondering if that was going to translate from Tennessee to Cleveland in the NFL, and it looks like it has. I think the Browns blocking could be a lot better here, but if you're the Browns and you're asking yourself, who do you want to run the ball on a consistent basis, Jerome Ford or Dylan Samson? I think you got to go with Dylan, even though Jerome, a lot of the lack of production he had in that game wasn't really his fault. It's just, again, Jerome's game is so reliant on the offensive line. Yeah. Again, he gets a good offensive line. He's going to be, what was the guy who went, like Raheem Mostert when he went to Miami? This one's tough because Joe's just getting his ass beat. Right, 92 gets into the chest of Joel. And this is the thing with Joel, right? Some days he real strong with the back like he used to be. Other days you could tell he's had a lot of back injuries. because he gets pushed back. He can't really drop the anchor anymore. He can't hold guys up. It's a shame, right? Because if Joel gets a better rep here, I think there's a chance that Dylan could break a big one. Third and 3 here. Dylan Samson, Cleveland on Cincinnati 9. Little toss sweep. And again, I think the big difference here between Jerome Ford and Dylan is one. I think Dylan benefited from getting a little bit better blocking when he was in the game. So the execution was a little bit better for him. But I think the big thing is just like the difficulty to tackle is so much different between Dylan and Jerome. Right? Now, is Dylan as fast as Jerome in the open field? Probably not. But the difficulty to get him, by the way, great job by Harold Fannin, right? Nice little, nice little, I think that's like a down block or trap block. And then 71 in space actually does pull to the right guy and then makes this. Maybe Deuce Vaughn's telling him, not Deuce Vaughn, Deuce Staley is telling him, hey, if you get your offensive lineman, you're on his hip, and he drives to the outside shoulder of 49 instead of trying to chase to the pylon, they're probably going to tell him, you got a backside block here. You got a guy who can get to this alley, take this cut, and then go north instead of going towards the sideline, especially when we're not in a situation where we need you to get out of bounds, right? So when you have this leverage with your tackles, set them up, put that foot in the ground, right? So at 49 goes to 71, set him up, and then cut behind him. And in that way, all you got to deal with is 27. And we've seen how Dylan Samson runs. He gets 10 yards of speed on him, and he's having to go at the safety. He's going to beat that safety. So he should have scored a touchdown here. Should be 17-14 right now. Now, I think the Browns eventually score a touchdown anyways on this drive, but should have scored a touchdown here. But I mean, like, this is a good thing, right? This is a good learning lesson, right? Like, okay, he just has to set up his box better to score a touchdown instead of getting a 10-yard gain on 3rd and 3. Again, this is just a degree of difficulty difference of tackling 22 versus tackling 34. I think for what the Browns have going on right now, it's gonna make it so that you're gonna play 22 way more, right? Because look at TJ Slayton. He gets back there, and so does 58. I think that's Joseph Osai. So your center, is that your center? Yeah, your center, doesn't do a really good job there. Joel gets outpowered here. Great technique by Joseph Osai. Look how low Osai gets and then puts that shoulder into Joel. It's great technique. He just catches it, right? Boom. Because they're trying to trap him. He felt it. He ate it. Good job. Good job by 58. But he gets through this whole thing, right? Boom. And then what's he able to do after breaking the tackle because he has great contact balance? What's he able to do? Be powerful. Boom. Cut up the hole. I think he abandoned his gap a little early. I think it actually ends up getting there. Yeah, I think he needs to trust it. Yeah, this one he needs to probably trust a little bit more. I could see when he sees this, he goes, hell no, I'm out. Right? And then all that space outside. This is a transition from college to NFL thing, right? Because you see that space outside in college, you can clean it. NFL, that space ain't really there. Right? Look how fast that shit closes up. And then who is that? Yeah. Because you're running behind David. David has an edge rusher on him right now. He's not trying to be anywhere where that guy's an open lane. So yeah, you want to stick behind 77 and then make your decision whether you're going to cut out this or not, right? I could get not wanting to cut right, but you could get behind 77 and still go left and have some options because you see the backside of this play is taken care of. So when I say that, I mean this, right? Dewan, block, little alley. You got him right here. So yeah, maybe you don't want to take this alley, but you still got that alley. You got to just run the play. Instead, he kind of abandons it, goes outside, gets a free lane to the edge rusher on the tight end. So not a great decision here by Samson. Again, it's easy for me to say. I'm watching this days later in the comfort of my bedroom or office without the fear of being hit by these very big people. But that's what the tape looks like. All right, but that's the Browns run game. That's what went right, wrong, what needs to be fixed. Honest to God, they just need to, one, better timing, I think will be a huge improvement for this line. Just more reps running the ball will help greatly. And then these double teams have to just be more powerful than they are right now. I think they're more worried about being finesse and getting to a spot versus actually being effective when they're helping. So I think they'll make some adjustments this week. Hopefully you see some improvement because I think that this can get better, but it looks like early season run game woes, and a lot of teams have them. That's my thoughts here. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.